Thank you everyone for coming. So today I'm going to be talking about Azure Data Studio. How many developers do we have here? A lot. DBAs? A lot. That's good. Is anyone already using Azure Data Studio? Or at least playing with it? Good. That's good. So yeah, the plan today is to go through the tool and demonstrate, give a bit of an introduction, see how it works, and then at the end we're gonna kind of play with it. So and just see how. So please silence your phones. I believe most of you, if not all of you, follow PASS and all the events that are currently provided. So if you don't, please go to the PASS website and then register. They have the 24 hours, the local groups, virtual groups, SQL Saturdays, and also if you have time, be a volunteer, because all these events are run by volunteers, and it's all for the community, right? So there's a lot of online resources for free, so videos, contents, blog posts. They send a newsletter frequently. So my name is Daniel de Sousa, and I'm an independent consultant for Tobias. I currently live in Toronto, Canada. I was born in Brazil, moved to Australia. I've lived 12 years in Australia. Some of you may have picked up the accent. And then the last year and a half I've been in Toronto. Bit cold. So I've been working with SQL Server since 1997, and I think it was version 6.5. I moved to BI in 2008, and I'm currently focused on data warehouse, BI, and also analytics. But you end up doing all of it, right? When I'm not doing tech stuff, I love playing soccer, watching soccer, running. So I'm a trail runner. As you can see in the picture, that was taken in Atlanta last year when I was running for the world's toughest mudder. And I also go out a lot with my wife and my kids. The agenda for today, we're going to be looking at give a bit of a background on ADS, get what ADS is. We'll be comparing ADS to the other available tools, looking at some features, a little bit of PowerShell integration, not much because I'm not a PowerShell expert, sorry. We're going to go through the latest releases, just to see what was released, and then including the release on Monday, I believe. And we're going to have some demo, like pretty much opening Azure Data Studio. Yes?
So when I connect to Azure SQL database for management studio, when you compare it to on-premise, I'm talking about management studio, you see a lot of mistakes. If you go in the user section, log in, and so that, it's not the same as an on-premise. Is that something that Azure?
Yeah, so Azure Data Studio is not only for Azure. It's more, I think, because the word Azure became kind of a hype, and then they put, but you can use that to query your on-prem databases.
What I'm saying was, when I use management studio to connect to an Azure SQL database, it misses a lot of stuff, like user logins. I can't create user logins by right-clicking. It's like you do in management studio on an on-premise database. Is that feature there in Azure? Or do you cover that?
Now, we're covering the tool today, the Azure Data Studio. It's not about the Azure DB, SQL DB service. So the question was more about the Azure SQL DB. That's some features that he uses SSMS for. And he's saying that he can do a few things on-prem that he cannot do with Azure SQL DB. So if you're a DBA, you'll be very familiar with SSMS. And also a developer probably use SSDT, SQL Server Data Tools. But SSMS is Windows only, right? And it's not much extensible. And the same happened with data tools. You can run only on Windows. And Visual Studio is like heavy to have it installed. And then there was a need for something. So they released SQL Server on Linux and also on Docker. That required a few things to change. So going back history, back in November 2017, they released SQL Operations Studio, which was a portable tool to query your database and multi-platform. They've been releasing every month a new version of it with fixes, with new features, and also trying to get that to work smoothly so people can kind of use both of them for their purposes. And by September 2018, it became GA, and it was then renamed to Azure Data Studio. Looking at Microsoft Docs, the definition is like, Azure Data Studio is a cross-platform database tool for professionals using the Microsoft family, and it works for on-premises, cloud, running on Windows, Mac, or and Linux. So what ADS is? ADS is open source, and is a cross-platform database tool. So you can run it on Windows, Mac, and Linux. You can connect to SQL Server on-premises, Azure SQL DB, Azure SQL Data Warehouse, and also PostgreSQL. The source code is available on GitHub, and the tool was basically, the tool is focused more on query editing, so you don't have much of the wizards that you have on SSMS and the visuals. Even though you can extend to have more visuals, that was not really kind of the purpose. It's more for query editing. And as I said, you can have additional experiences through, there's a lot of extensions, some built by Microsoft and some built by the community. And if you want to download, there's the website for downloading it. Now, people would think, is it for me? The currently supported operating systems are from Windows 7, 7, 8, 10, Windows Server 2012, 2016, 2019, Mac from Mac Sierra, and Linux, Red Hat, SUSE, and Ubuntu 16. Ubuntu, it only works from 16.04. So why should I use each of the tools? Like, if I'm on Windows only, I would say that SSMS may be the best tool because it currently has more features as is a more mature tool. If you're a DBA and you're doing admin tasks, that SSMS is the right tool for you. Like if you need to do a configuration for administrative tasks, if you use, that has changed because if you use Sql Cmd, it's now available on the, I believe in the November release, it's already GA, so general available. If you frequently use the wizard, then SSMS, performance tuning advisors, or doing import and export of DAC packs. And that last one's going to change because they are currently testing DAC packs on ADS. While if you can run ADS for Mac and Linux, as I said before, you can have SQL 2019 big data clusters. If you're most of your time creating queries, editing queries, then this may be the tool because the IntelliSense on the tool is pretty amazing. You can create charts very easy, and you can visualize your result sets more easily than I would say from SSMS. If you don't need a wizard and no admin configuration, and you can change themes on the tool like very easily because the tool was forked from VS Code, and as they improve VS Code, it's all applied to ADS as well. So some of the features for developers, IntelliSense, it has source control integrated. You can view definitions. You can create snippets and templates. And you can use the notebooks. But if you are a DBA, you can have dashboards of your databases, of your servers. You can create groups of servers and then classify them. So you can create a group and color the groups. And then you can separate the groups in like by subjects or by areas. You can export your data to CSV, JSON, Excel. It has PowerShell integration. And a few of the useful extensions, Error Mechanics, SP, who is active, can create charts, and SQL agent is available. So PowerShell, it's just we're going to go through like the tool itself. So this is kind of just a screenshot of the PowerShell integration. So if we go, I don't have the clicker here. But you have a terminal inside the tool, and you can do bash, you can do command prompt, and you can do PowerShell. You have all the commands that from PowerShell if you need to check them. So on the September release, they enabled Sql Cmd Mode. They created an extension for the query editor boost, which gives, it's kind of creates templates for creating queries. So you can save the current query as a snippet. You can switch databases using Control-U, and you can create new queries from templates. Now, this presentation, when I sent and created, it was based on the September release. And then we had the October release, which they added an extension for the query history. Now, on the September release, you didn't have, you couldn't copy and paste the results of a query. And you had the export to JSON, Excel, and other formats, but you couldn't copy and paste into Excel, for example. They've updated the PowerShell extension for the integration to be smoother. And they had some issues with notebooks for escaping special characters, like backslashes and quotes, and that was fixed on the October release. Now, the November release, which was Monday, they included the support for 2019 features for the notebooks, PowerShell notebooks, collapsible code cells, and they worked some on improving performance in the notebooks. They announced Jupyter notebooks are now supported. You can use you have a wizard to deploy. So as I said, they made GA of the schema compare and the DAC pack. Now, let's do some. Have you got any questions? Am I going too fast? Yeah, so the question is, when copying and pasting to Excel, they had some issues with commas for numbers. I believe that's being fixed on the November version. But because it was released on Monday, I was very scared to install it. And mostly because, so when they implemented the Jupyter notebooks, they changed how the Python relates with the tool, and then it required some extra installs. And some people had issues installing. I'm not too sure if it was the machine or if they had something else. And I was like, no, I'm not installing that version because, yeah. But I believe that's being fixed on the November release. Yeah.
Is there an extension, or is there a plan to roll in so I can query it for capacity on Azure Data Studio?
I believe it's a work in progress.
Okay.
Because it's only supported for SQL and Postgres, but it should come soon, I would say. So the question was support for Cosmos DB. Yes? Yeah, so it's we're going to go through installing a couple of extensions, and that will install. You have to have it installed in the server because it goes in the master, and then the tool it gives you a tab on the server properties for everything that SP who is active can do. Yes, yes. Okay, so. So when you first open Azure Data Studio, this is the screen that will come up, and soon enough, we're going to have a notification coming here. Okay. Yes, that there's an update available. So it's always, every time you open it, it's going to go and check if you're running the latest. But I don't want it now. Let me remove this. So basically, we have our the navigation. So you can create queries, files, notebooks, windows. Same edit. And then in here, on the left side, you have your connections. You have a search, the Powershell integration. Come on. You have an explorer. So in here, you can work with, you can link a folder, and it will basically work as if, like when you work with database projects in Visual Studio. Source control, and the extensions. Now, if we go here, I don't have any server, and I need to add a new server to my. So it shows you the recent, like if you have connected, I think it's up to 10 last. I'm going to connect to my local Windows. My database is AdventureWorks. And then connect. So once you connect, this is kind of the management screen. And it will give you, it has some tasks, like you can create a new query, notebooks, you can do backup and restore. And if you want to change this dashboard, you can just go, if you click here, it will bring you to the docs webpage, where it has how to go through, like step-by-step, how you can configure your dashboard, like add snippets, add charts and others. But in here, we have all the tables, so if you, and it'll filter them. And you can go here and then go script. Come on. And it'll script for you. Now, I already have some extensions installed, like this one, which I believe is not working now. The agent, which you have your all your jobs, and you can go through and see why it failed. Very similar to SSMS. If you run any notebook jobs, you can schedule your notebooks. Yes?
Showing jobs which belong to the server.
Correct. Okay. So the question is, I'm connected to the database and not the server. It's just how it shows here. So if I go connect, I will leave the database as default. And then you have all your databases. At the same time, so I'll just remove these. And I actually noticed earlier today, if I connect there and I say, I can kind of give it an alias to the server. So this is my SQL 2016. Let's call it Seattle. And connect. It's going to give a name to the server. Like you can, if you have those names that usually are kind of, they follow your policies and everything and naming conventions. But in here, you can give it a name that's more understandable. Now, I am going to connect to my other instance, SQL 2017, and I'll call SQL 2017 _ Seattle. Okay, I'll just remove this one. So now we have both servers here. And let's say you have hundreds of them. You want to kind of group them. What you can do, you can go and create a server group. And in here, I'm going to say this is a SQL 2016. OK. And I'm also creating another one for SQL 2017. When I create this, I can create a color, so it kind of stands out. So I'm just going to go here, OK. Now I have those groups here, but I have my servers here. What I can do is just move them here, and then this one here. And then you can kind of group them all. And OK, so in here we can go and search. Let's see if this is going to work. Yeah, so when I created the connection, I'm using Windows Authentication. Yeah, but you have SQL login, Windows, and also AAD. Yeah, so the question was how I was connecting to the database. And yeah, you can have SQL login, Windows Authentication, and also AAD. Now, in here, you can only see SQL Server. If you want to connect to a Postgres, you got to install an extension. I have not got a Postgres to connect, so OK. So I'll just, and also we have server reports that shows space used on the server, buffer, utilization, backup growth trend. That's because my local doesn't have any backups. OK, so if we close this, can close this. So this is the PowerShell integration. Sometimes it takes a bit. No, that was OK. So you have your terminal here, and usually comes with the PowerShell. But you can go, if you go select default, it's going to show you all the available, which is command prompt, PowerShell, and git bash. If I go command prompt, and then I go here, so you have your session, your CMD, and can go here. Now, I've used this. I don't need this environment, this terminal anymore. Just go delete. And that's gone. Folders. Now, to work with folders, kind of pretty simple. You just go File. I need to open a folder. I'm just going to open the scripts folder, which I believe was already open here. But every time you create a new query, it's going to be, you got the editors, everything that's open here, it will just show up in here. And as I mentioned about the IntelliSense, you can go select star from, let's actually connect, 2016. I'll just do a top 10. And then you run. So that's how the results come up. If your messages, like same way as Management Studio, with your results, you can just go, I want to save as a CSV or Excel, JSON, or XML. Now you have a chart button here. If we go chart, I'm not too sure. Yeah, it's not a good query to go on the chart. And we're going to come back to here. But every time you go to a chart, there's a few extensions that it's kind of recommended by Microsoft. And so it's saying, oh, we have an extension recommendation for this kind of visualization. Once it's installed, you can just visualize. So you can go install all, you'll just go to the extension and install, or you can, if you go show, it'll just list all of them. I don't want to go there now. And as I said, so the Sql Cmd is a new thing. Yeah, when I created that comparison, it wasn't available. So okay, so if it goes, yep. Yep. Query plan. There is an extension from Sentry one that brings when you click on the explain, it will bring the Plan Explorer. Yep. Okay, so the question is, the explain uses the same method as SSMS to show the plan. I believe it's the same. And because they have the extension to the Sentry one, that may have some other, use other logic. Okay. Don't save. Same way we've created a query, we can create what they call the notebook. Notebook is basically a document where you can kind of create all the queries that you want to run, and they will run at the specific point where you put them. And you may ask, what does that mean? So here we have the notebook, and I can go add a text, and then I'm going to go, this is my first notebook. So that's basically just this text. But you could use to kind of specify what the query below is doing. And then once you go here, you can go, oh, now I need to add a code. And go use AdventureWorks, select top 10 from person dot person. And then I can just go here and run. It's attached to that connection. It's the one that's kind of, it's got the focus when you're doing. But you can definitely change. So if I go here, and then if I go here, this table I don't think is there. Yeah. I don't believe it saves the connection, because you can always change in here. So, yep. Yep. So the question was, when saving the notebook, when you reopen it, will it open on the same connection? And I believe it doesn't, because you can, like as I show, you can create an alias for the server. Your server may have a different alias from mine when I'm connecting. You can also use, so if I go and open this one, yeah, so this one is one I created before. And then you can say, oh, but that's kind of, this one's got some formatting. So there's a markup that you can use for this. If I go into the code, so that's basically, you put a hash, space, and then, and the same way, if I put, excuse me, if I put 2 hashes, that's going to be like the next level, and then go sub header. On the slide at the back, on the references, there's a link to, there's a cheat sheet that has pretty much all of the the items that you can use to do the formatting. And yeah, so this, I had this one, because I ran the other one, it doesn't make, I can go here and just run it. And then same way as we've seen before. If we go here, you can just select, copy, bring Excel. And then paste. Just another query to get the views. But interestingly, with the markdowns, you can do some cool stuff as well, like create links. So I have another script here on the same location called active sessions. And I go here. I can create a link inside my notebook to the other files. So if you create a notebook, you can start referencing other scripts. So you have the scripts in like the one location. And it's basically, yeah, it's just a simple markdown. Yeah. Now, I put this query so we can kind of have a look at. So if I run this one, I will have one active session. And then now I go to the chart. No, I don't want to see it. I go OK. Users account, so active sessions 1. And then I have this button here. Then I can create an insight. If I click on it, it's going to generate me a JSON. Now, if I copy this and Control-Shift-B, I think. I'm just checking. It's too many. so that's. Oh man, I forgot which one is this. Inside. Dashboard. I'm just gonna open this one. Yeah, I think it's gonna be widgets. Control-Shift-P. Azure. So in here you have the user settings. I think it was the snippets. Oh man, I'm gonna remember and I'll come back to this. Okay, go back. Same way we can create snippets. So if you open a new query and type in SQL, you have all of these snippets that are available. And then if I go create table, and then I say my table parks, and then I call it, let's leave it a DBO. Hello? Oh, yeah. Okay, so you have the predefined snippets, and you can easily create new ones. So if I go back to my notebook, I have my script here of what I want to create. I go select copy, then I go snippets, configure user snippets, and then SQL. What I need to do is just paste that code in here. Make sure there's no squiggles, right squiggle lines. When I save it, so in here I'm creating a snippet called select top 5 and another one SQL create table 2. Open a new query, and then if I type SQL, come on, yeah. So you got them in there. So they'll come on top of, excuse me, on top of the current ones. So I go remove, select top 5, and then my table. Uh, 13 doesn't. and they'll run. Now, yes?
And those snippets, they can be saved to a file that's kind of like a central repo, so your team can share common snippets.
To put in here, it's inside. So the question is about the snippets. If it can be shared, put in a place where it can be shared with the other people on the team. It's saved on the settings of the tool. So I believe you have to go copy and then paste in tool for it to work. Okay, so if I go here, close this one, cancel this, open a new query. What we can do here also from, sorry, it's not connected. Adventure works, person, dot, person. So if we go and select and right click, I can go and pick the definition. Really? Pick definition. Yes. So it has to be focused. Have to have the focus in here. So it will show you the definition, or you can also go and go to definition. That will open a new query and then bring the create table statement for that selected object. Okay. So notebooks, queries. Now if I go, I'll just close this notebook, this one as well.
So these notebooks,
Yep.
can they be saved?
Sorry, say that again.
Notebooks,
Yep.
can notebooks be saved and shared?
So the question is, can the notebooks be saved and shared? Yes, they can. Once you save them, so if I go back to my folder, it will save with this extension IPYNB, and they can definitely be shared. Now, one thing to notice, once you create, it creates as a not trusted. If you create, it will be trusted. If you share, the first time the other person opens, it will be called non-trusted, because you don't know what's in there and if you can run. It's just kind of a measure to avoid running any query that you shouldn't. Yes?
If you work in a team setting and you have this one file in a centralized location for all of your team to access,
Yep.
can multiple people read and write at the same time?
That is a good question. And so the question is, if you're working on a team of multiple people and you have your notebook saved on a shared location, can it be opened by more than one person at the same time? What we can try to do, I believe it can, because in here I'm looking at the folder and all the files in that folder. So I'm gonna leave. I know it's not gonna be like the same, but if I open another instance of Azure Data Studio and go there, open folder, submit scripts. yeah, it won't work on here because of the same machine, but I believe it shouldn't be a problem. It's just a matter of if you save the notebook with new things, I may need to reload. I'm not too sure, but I'll be doing some testings like to see, will it advise me once you saved it to say, okay, this person or someone else changed it, you have to reload. Because it does a lot of that with the extensions, saying, oh, you're doing this, but you have an extension that can do that. If we go, let's just move to extensions, and then if we have time, I can go back to the source control. The extensions. So these ones are all the ones that I have currently installed. So they will show as installed, kind of. It doesn't, when you install it, it is automatically enabled. You have all the recommendations recommended by Microsoft, and the ones with the star is, I would kind of call it approved because it's recommended by the team, the Azure Data Studio team. And to install it, there's two ways you can install. So basically, if we go, let's get Azure Data Warehouse Insights. I just go and click install. It usually asks me to reload, but I believe because this one comes from Microsoft, it doesn't. But if I get, for example, who is active, and I go install, so this one was changed. There's two ways. One of the ways is just go and click install. You'll just install automatically. And another way is so you can create an extension. Anyone can create an extension for ADS, and you create a VSIX file, and then you can go install extension from the package, VSIX package. I believe I have one in here. Yep, the Powershell formatter, and I can do a search here as well. So if I go format, now this one, if I click install, it'll bring me to the page and usually the GitHub where I can get it. I just go download the file, go back to Visual Studio, file, install extension. I'll get the one that I just downloaded, so it should be here. Yep. Install. And then it says, this is a third-party extension, might involve security risks. Are you sure you want to install it? Yes. And then it says complete. Go cool. So now, if we go back here, and if I do manage, I should have, yeah, so this is because it's not installed on my server, the SP who is active StoreProc. But if I go download the script and then run, it goes into that server. Those the charts will populate. Sorry?
Is that expecting the store procedure to be the master?
Yeah, so the question, is that expected for the store procedure to be in the master database? Yes. So when you install SP who is active, it installs in the master.
So if you had SP who is active, say, in a different database, the instance, not just master, is there a way to configure that, point to the location where SP who is active?
I am not so familiar with the way it works, but I believe not. I think it has to be in the master. Let me see if we can go here. Source code. Show in folder. Just copy, put it in here. I hope it works. 7-dep extract here. So then I can go here, this one, new query, actually file, open file, extras, SP who is active, open, connect to this guy, and then run. So now, I think it's finished. No problems. Yeah. So these problems are from because that first the snippets file, it wasn't a proper SQL formatted file. If I go here, and close, it should come on, go away. But now, if we go back here, manage, didn't work. Can I go? Run query? Yeah. I think I've got a problem with the SP who is active on this machine because it was working before and then I uninstalled it. When playing for this presentation, I uninstalled it, installed it. I think I kind of broke it. So going back, source control. How do we do source control here? Easiest way is you go and you clone your to your local. So I have something cloned into here. I'm just gonna open my, let's do it live, right? Presentation, DevOps, test ADS, repo. So I have my repo with a couple scripts here. Just clone. I'll copy this guy. Go back there, Azure Data Studio. Just gonna create another folder here as test submit. I go here. Test submit. Git clone this. Fingers crossed it works. Come on. Cloning. come on, there's not much. Come on. Okay. Because I knew this was, okay. Go repos from the objects. That's done. So now how do I do it? So I go here, file. I'm gonna open up that folder that I just created. Test summit, this one. When I do that, it opens another instance of the Data Studio. And as always, there's an update available. I don't want it. If we go here, so I've got those two scripts. It's just space select star from table. But I go, okay, I put this one. I don't like select star. I'm just gonna go here and change this guy to that. Once I save this file, I don't know if you guys already know this. This is already kind of saying, okay, there's something happening. Then I go there. I'm not too sure why it takes so long, if it's the internet connection or, but I kind of found the source control here a bit confusing because it only shows the changes, and if you're used to doing on Visual Studio or other tools, you can see the files and then you can see the changes, and it shows, okay, this guy changed. This one's being, come on, file's not too big. Yeah, so saying, okay, you modify that file. You want to open the file. You can discard, or you can stage. So let's do stage. You can do it from here. That's going to stage those changes. And then you can commit from here, but all the source control options, you have them in here. I didn't have time to play with them all, but the simple, like push, sync, pull, that works pretty well.
Is all that installed with ADS, or do you have to install the first?
It's all installed. I didn't have to install anything. The only thing that I did was when I cloned my repo on the local, I just opened the folder from Visual Studio. And the first time, I was going to say, oh, you need to link to a source control. So there'll be like a plus sign here. And it just to say you're going to use Git or you're going to use something else. But it does identify from what you're opening. Because you have to open the file, the folder first. It's going to go and say, okay, it looks like a Git repo, or it looks like another source control. So it staged my changes, and now I go, okay, so remove select star from file. Then I do commit. If I go back here, come on, and I open this file. So this is the original. Come on. And many people think that this will replace SSMS. I honestly don't think. I think they kind of work together. And it's all about the usage, because a lot of people use Mac to program, like. And then if you're using SSMS, you either have to have a VM or something for it to work, or even Linux. And with this one, the installation is just like pretty easy. Yes? To all, can I connect to OLAP database? Unfortunately not. Only, yeah, at the moment, only SQL databases. Okay, so my changes were committed, and then I just go and sync. And say it will push and pull commits to the master. Okay. Wow, this does that. I'm just gonna go back here and then connect. Come on. Now they are kind of working around both tools. So if I go here and go properties, come on. This pop-up is very familiar, right? So they're actually calling, in the background, they're actually calling some of the windows from SSMS. Yes?
We saw this kind of window even if we use that on Mac or Linux or something like that. The same window as we saw from Windows.
Yes. Yes. Yeah, because that's basically a DLL, and they made it run. It runs on the on yeah. Yes.
Notebooks are notebooks specific to SQL commands, or makes it PowerShell and other stuff.
Great question. Are notebooks only for SQL? Excuse me? Let's go back here. You have all of this.
So you can mix them and then just switch back and forth.
Correct. Yes, you can mix them and then switch back. Yes. Now this shadowing, that's something new. I haven't played with it, so I wouldn't. Correct, yeah. On the PowerShell, because they have the integrated, they kind of created they work together with the PowerShell team to integrate the whole thing. So it's basically, yeah, it's basically integrated to the tool. And then just going back, this is, I don't know why it's taking that long. If I go here and refresh. Yeah. So basically, you have the source control in your tool. Search. I think I have to go back to the slides. Yeah. So I put some of the links that I used to create this, and some that I found useful, like to create snippets, widgets, charts, as well as, so let's just open this guy. So this guy kind of, it created the cheat sheet for the markdowns for the notebooks. So he has pretty much everything that's useful, like lists, you can do links, images, highlighting, tables, quotes, inline HTML, yeah. Yeah, so don't forget to evaluate the sessions that you guys seen, because that helps us to grow and bring better content for you guys. So you can use the guidebook or on the website. Thank you, everyone.